Is it Ari seeing?
It is RE-seeing, baby.
Are you seeing this?
Are we seeing this? That's funny.
Let's see. All right.
Rock and roll, baby. Here we are again.
Yeah, take
Round
two.
two.
Take two.
That hurt. That hurt.
It did. Wasn't there a teen band in the 90s called Take Two? Or maybe 80s?
Maybe. That sounds about
I
right.
kind of remember something vaguely.
Yeah. I wonder what inspired that name. Did they
I
do-
think, I may be wrong, but I think it was brothers.
the band, Take Two?
Yeah, I think there were two brothers.
Okay, there you go. That's what inspired. They didn't mess up a whole shoot and have to do a second take like some of us.
Well, it's okay. I like the coffee at your office. So it's all good.
What do you call it? The coffis?
The coffis.
Yeah, the coffis.
The coffis.
That's-
Sounds like coffin.
It tastes like coffin.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay when you haven't had one in a long time. But
great
if it's like always
artificial
there,
taste.
it's rough.
Yeah.
It is rough. But any caffeine is good sometimes. All right, so what's up?
We're having our big show tonight. We're gonna do Vivaldi, the Four Seasons. So my friend, who's a world-class violinist, who's been coming to the Cayman Arts Festival. I think this is her 5th time.
Okay.
And she's real amazing. She won the Queen Elizabeth, or I think second, or whatever. I think she won it. And she's the professor of violin at University of Maryland. Her name is Irina Mureșanu. We've known each other since we were 6 back in Romania. And she recently told me, did you know that Antonio Vivaldi wrote sonnets to go with all the movements in all the seasons? So there's, 12, every season is 4 of them, has 3 movements. Quick,
And remind us
slow,
who
quick.
Vivaldi is.
Antonio Vivaldi was an Italian composer and violin prodigy who lived in the 18th century, and he is considered, a great composer. Everybody knows, like we've been going around schools doing demonstrations here on the island, and you tell them Vivaldi's Four Seasons, and the kids, we're talking 7, 8 to 13-year-old kids, they're kind of blank. And then you go, they're like, oh yeah, we know. They all know that,
Right.
because it's in the little Einsteins and all these cartoons for kids. They know it. It's one of the most best well-known pieces of music. And also it uses the violin as sound effects because it's what's called programmatic music. That is music that's supposed to tell a story very clearly, as opposed to some symphonies or concerti that don't have that. And so Vivaldi wrote these sonnets in Dante's style, that is undecasyllabic, 11 syllables, as opposed to the English sonnet, which is 10 syllables, the iambic pentameter, or the French sonnet, which is 12, I believe, or 16 sometimes, the Alexandrine. And they're never played. They were originally they were. They're supposed to be read in order for the audience to
Played or
imagine. Read. You have to read the sonnet or recite it before the music, so that the audience imagines what the words say, and realizes, oh, that's supposed to be, that effect on the violin is supposed to be birds singing. That's a dog barking. That's the thunderstorm. That's the skating scene. And when you listen to the music with the words in mind, it makes it a lot more fun.
So you do the words first and then the music
And then the
after?
music
I
is-
thought it was at the same time for some reason.
No. I mean, technically, it was supposed to be at the same time.
Okay.
And Vivaldi writes them in the middle of the score.
Okay.
But we don't want to do that.
Why not?
Because it would be too much of a disruption. The audience would be like, what?
Yeah. Too
It's-
much. It's
yeah,
like,
it's
here's
all-
the sonnet.
Yeah,
Take that in.
It's like singing
Here's the
your
music.
favorite pop song and then all of a sudden saying, oh, and there's bagpipes with it. You're like,
Right.
what? We got to ease people in.
Fair. So are the sonnets read in Italian or
I
English?
really wanted to, and Irina said, we're going to Cayman. No, they're going to be in English. And I scoured for translations, and I found several. Unfortunately, none of them are in meter and rhythm and rhyme. And
what's the point?
I didn't have, well, it's still beautiful. It's white verse, blank verse, but I intend to try to, because I'm trained to do that. It's been a while, it's been a minute, but I intend to try to translate them from Italian to English
In the same cadence.
in the cadence,
Right.
in the proper cadence, and I was gonna do that today, but I had to reshoot this. So,
You had to reshoot a podcast. You had to wipe your schedule clean because someone didn't press record.
Certo.
You know,
Abbiamo visto questa miseria. Yes.
I'm going to translate that.
We've seen this misery.
Yes, it was misery. Looking at a file, a blank audio file.
I'll never be smarter than yesterday.
No, neither will I.
No, it's the
best podcast
we
ever.
solved the problems of the world. Finances were never going to be a problem for anyone on the planet. World hunger had gone away, but we didn't have the audio.
And we screwed it up because we didn't have the audio.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Okay, so tonight is that show, and so Irina has come before. Has she done similar shows before?
Yes. She's been a constant collaborator of.
But this is your first time coming with her.
My first time.
But you've known
on
her.
the island. I've known her since
so you
we were
knew
6.
she came here and was doing things. Yeah.
And then she said, "Look, I have this new repertory of things, and I want to do things that are violin and voice." So we're working on a few pieces together, and those are the ones we've been performing at the schools with the Cayman Arts Festival. And then the big show is at St. George's tonight at the church. And it's with the local orchestra, very talented, fine people. And we're doing Vivaldi, which is about an hour. And she said, she discovered these things. She's a cultural entrepreneur, really. I mean, that's the reason I think they also love her teaching, because it's not enough to be a great performer. If you're going to be a teacher, you got to find things and publish things and come up with new things or revive things and have a critical eye and bring something new to the field. In this case, it's an old new thing that she's bringing back, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And I got to be bitten by a couple of jellyfish.
Did you already?
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah,
I discovered actually what was the worst was we're from Romania, right? And the Romanian National Day is December 1st, so we were here. We had just arrived.
All right.
And we went to some pickleball place where a bunch of Romanians who live on the island gathered to, do the Romanian thing.
Ah, okay. So you met up with the Romanian, Caymanian diaspora?
The mini Romanian,
Sure.
yes. There's about 100, which is a lot.
Oh, wow. I didn't
for
think
an
it was that
island.
much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of your favorite waiters and cooks, I would say, are probably
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. And we didn't realize that the Caymanian mosquitoes are very discreet. They're utterly quiet. They bite you, and
Those
the
aren't
bite,
mosquitoes.
What are they?
Oh, they're terrible though.
Yeah.
You were on the beach when you got them.
Yeah.
At sunset.
Yeah.
Maybe someone can help us out. Those aren't the mosquitoes, but they sure feel like mosquitoes.
Well, the thing is, the bite doesn't manifest for like 24 hours.
Okay, sometimes earlier. It depends on the person.
No, for both Irina and I, we were like, fine.
Right.
And then a day later, we're like, what is this? And on top of that, we went, of course, because we had to do some touristy things. So we went to the bioluminescent thing, and we got a little. I mean,
Some bites out there as well?
no one's new to jellyfish. We're not newbies here. But
Sure.
yeah, we have some scars to prove that we were here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all good.
So what do you do at the concert then? Like, what are your...
I am at this concert.
Yeah.
I've designed a PowerPoint, a slideshow of classical paintings to go with the show, and I recite.
Okay, so you'll
the
recite.
words, yeah.
So when do they see the images? When the music's
during the
happening?
music, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so they're constantly being projected, and while I'm reciting, I'm also switching. I hope I can do two things at the same time. Walk and chew gum.
I've talked with you quite a bit. You can definitely do two things at the same time. You can do many things at the same time. So the purpose of this show is to imbue art into the audience.
It's fun. I mean, you guys have a very rich cultural life here. I mean, this is a fascinating society. I'm just beginning to understand it. I don't just beginning to experience it, but it's. Certainly, it's a world-famous place. Everyone knows about Cayman
Was
Islands.
it what you thought it was going to be before you got here?
You know, I thought to myself, it's going to be a richer, quieter Puerto Rico, and I'm not that. I kind of stand by that description.
Okay, interesting.
Because the weather is a little sweeter, a little less humid, I think, than Puerto Rico, and a little more breezy.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not fundamentally different than Miami or Puerto Rico or Haiti, which are the only places I've been to in the area.
I was just wondering if the tax haven thing like implanted some kind of imagery in your head.
Certainly, you do. One does hope that means something. I've yet to stumble upon, gold bullion laying in the streets. I've been wearing thick shoes just in case, because that can really hurt your toes.
Yeah.
But
no, it's in the water with the sea urchin.
Yeah, that's fine. I've urchined around. I'd rather not. Yeah. But starfish, that was nice. The stingrays. Okay. I had to kiss a few of them.
Yes. Okay.
Our guides were kind of intimidating. And they were like, "You have to kiss Barbara." I'm like, "They're all called Barbara, aren't they?" Because they have a barb. And they're like, "You smart man, you figured it out." But no, they were 6'6" and full of muscles. So I'm like, "Okay, I have to kiss the stingray."
There you go. 7 years of good luck. Is that what
That's
they
what he said.
you?
But you know what? The stingray, actually, the first one I tried kissing, she didn't like it.
No.
So maybe she didn't want to give me her 7 years of good luck.
Funny.
And then I abstained from that point on. But I love being in the water. I love the ocean, and I'm used to the Pacific because I live in Los Angeles, and I go to Malibu about once a week, to Zuma in particular. Mm-hmm. And
once a week's a lot.
It's pretty much, it's a lot. Yeah, but I mean, it's a Zen exercise, and over there it's a special exercise to go in the water because especially Zuma, there's a steep drop off, and the waves are, on a good day, they're 6 foot. That's low. I've gone in and you get sets of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 6-foot waves, and then you go in and you're like in a 20-foot wave, and those drawings of like, if the wave breaks here, do not be here, right. And you're always there, right. So you end up getting rolled in the sand and picking little pebbles out of your face.
So you enjoy that then?
I do. It makes you. Well, I've experienced some amazing things when a big wave, not a big wave. No, we're not talking Oahu or like really or breakers.
Well, the wave doesn't need to be that big to knock you down.
No, and if they're not predictable, they're you can go in and successfully navigate 4 waves, and the 5th one looks exactly the same, but it moves totally different. And next thing you know, you're up in the air, and you're like, oh, why can't I see the sand? And then you get in the dry cleaner, the dry wetter, and it's good though. I've experienced some of probably the most fun sensation I've experienced, and I'm just a body surfer. I'm not a surfer. I mean, I try, but not like my son, for instance. But I've experienced being picked up by a wave and literally whisks through the air and gently put on the beach 20 feet forward or 30 feet forward. It's like such an amazing feeling. Yeah. Of course, it's not something you can order up.
Yeah.
So the water here or in Miami is, by comparison, paradise.
Right.
It's like, this is so fun and quiet. And
very pristine.
Clean. Yeah. The Pacific is like, you're going to be tangled in weeds and
is that right?
Algae and, since, sea leopards are going to poke their eye out of the sea. The seals come to check you out.
It sounds cold as well.
It is extremely cold, but I like cold plunges. I do that. I am from originally.
How do you do your cold plunges?
Well, first of all, the Pacific will take care of that to a certain extent, and I have one of those mob cadaver freezers at home that I've outfitted during the pandemic.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
I did
because a few people have those, so I was wondering if you had something.
I have a DIY.
I know some spas have them as well.
Yeah, I didn't go for the $15,000 model. I jerry rigged my own and I have oxygen and peroxide. You're not supposed to mix those, but air and peroxide really circulating I have to clean it because it gets dusty after a while. But it's all zipped and closed and everything.
Right.
And I haven't been doing so much lately, but also California is an amazing place. So there are so many lakes, so many cold lakes. I take my son, we go to Mammoth Lakes, and we were there a month ago, and it was already snowed in, and we went in the water.
Wow.
Yeah, it was probably 3 degrees centigrade, 3 or 4. It was colder outside.
I jumped in a lake in Milwaukee in July.
And it was cold.
It felt like shards of glass.
It's not recommended to jump in.
Yeah.
Because you can You know, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Right.
But it can
It
kill
could
you.
kill you.
Yeah, well, it could stop your heart. So I would go in slowly and then suddenly. The way Mark Twain said when he was asked, how do people go bankrupt? And he said, 2 ways, very slowly and gradually, and then suddenly. So you go up to like here, and if your body doesn't say, get out now or we're going to faint,
Right.
then you can jump.
Yeah.
But jumping in straight up, especially if you're hot,
Right.
look it up. People die.
It could be problematic.
From time to time. Don't do it.
Gradually, then suddenly. That's that
Gradually,
crypto
then suddenly.
phrase to describe the end of fiat.
The end of fiat.
Yes, gradually, then suddenly. That's what they're saying. That when hyper Bitcoinization happens, it's going to be gradually and then
Hyper Bitcoin. That sounds like you need an ointment for that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I've gotten hyper Bitcoinized by the jellyfish, and now I have some cortisone cream to take care of the rash.
Okay, you put the cream on. That's good.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
Smart.
I don't know. The thing is that we're talking, we all had too much time on our hands during the pandemic, and we were all contemplating new ideas, and, there was the birth of so many conspiracy theories because people had time to ruminate.
That changed everything.
Yeah, think about things. But the question about wide adoption, for me, boils down to who is the adopter. And if the government adopts it, well, that's going to always be, because by default, it's going to be to the government's advantage. And that doesn't have to mean to the disadvantage of individual investors, but it more or less ends up being that it creates some facilities and it creates some protections. And it also dislodges some of the opportunities. The word on the street was always that the moment the institutional players get involved, the cycles will stop being so inflated. And
we shall see, because I think we're only really in the first year of institutionalization, and so it'll the whole question is too, though, the thing about state adoption is that it doesn't, unlike fiat, they can't make any more. You can't make any more Bitcoin. So even if it gets institutionalized, they're not all of a sudden going to start printing.
Right.
And they're not going to stop you from spending, right? Just like with the banks can stop your account, but Bitcoin cannot be controlled to stop you from spending.
We were talking about
this. Those two differences.
I don't think they're going to use Bitcoin like El Salvador. I think in the States or in Great Britain or in the European Union.
I think even in El Salvador, they've kind of stopped. It didn't quite work.
I think that this limited supply thing goes against the heart of world economy, which is a growth-based economy.
Well, does that really stop growth, though? That is the question that you have to think. Do you need that 2% inflation? You're saying that you need that 2% inflation.
Well, it's not 2. You need the ability to print money if you're going to continue running government the way government has been run worldwide. And especially since the pandemic, you need the ability to print money to have that fail-safe, knowing that you're just pushing a can down the road, but you've solved today at the expense of tomorrow, and tomorrow you're going to solve tomorrow at the expense of the day after tomorrow. Whereas with crypto, with Bitcoin, I shouldn't say crypto, you're losing that ability.
Yes.
And you have to rely on actual growth, not perceived growth.
Yes.
Which is why I don't think that Bitcoin will be the adopted currency, and I think that it's not going to be decentralized. I think it's, there's every indication that the appetite is for a centralized blockchain, which we were talking yesterday is the opposite of anonymous. It's super transparent. It's super transparent. Your health insurance will call you and say, you've had 6 donuts in the last 4 days. You got to stop or your premium will double. And you can see from the point of view of the state, you don't have to call it Big Brother, why this would be useful.
Sure.
But you can also see from the point of this rugged individualism, which is very much an American value, that's not desirable at all. That's what are you doing looking at my donut intake?
Yeah, that's against libertarian values, right?
Sure, but
Bitcoin
again,
was founded on.
That's why you have votes, and these votes are swinging on 1 or 2 razor sharp margins.
That's true.
A lot of people say, 15-minute cities, I can't handle that.
What does
I want
that
to
mean?
be the cities where you have everything within walking 15 minutes.
Right.
So you can go to the emergency room, you can go to the grocery store, you can go to your gym, you can go to the mall and go to the movie theater or the theater, all within 15 minutes. So you don't need cars, you don't pollute, et cetera, et cetera. homesteaders. There's still a bunch of them. I got a lot of friends who live out in like the desert or some valley over there, or up in Northern California in the redwoods on a cabin, growing God knows what. Well, I do know, and I can't tell. Well, I can't tell because it's legal now. And those people are like, no, I can't. 15-minute cities, no. And then I have friends who are like, oh, I welcome that. This is great.
It's funny how that is, right?
Yeah, and it's like you can't pit one against the other. I mean, I guess you can at the election time, but I think it should be a little. Freedom means being able to choose.
Exactly.
Even freedom should allow you to choose to give up some of your freedom.
What do you mean?
Well, just like that. Like if you're in a 15-minute city, the critics say, "Oh, well, you won't be able to travel. You'll have carbon credits, and you'll have this." Which is, of course, all speculation. We don't know.
I don't disagree with that in principle. To be free, you got to give up some of your freedom. I think we were talking about this on the Lost podcast. The
Lost podcast.
The idea that you can be free to create, but when you have the restrictions, it opens up that freedom and that creativity.
Well, that's true.
Whereas if you didn't have those restrictions, you can't be as creative. Right?
Since we talked, someone even mentioned, was it you? I don't think so. A theological dimension to it, which is that God's creation is infinite and God is the only creator that doesn't have a limitation.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yes.
Does that make God bored? Or does that make God less interested in creation? Because certainly, and of course it's speculation how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. But not Oscar Wilde, sorry, the other guy whose initials spell OW, Orson Welles, used to say that the artist has no worse enemy than the lack of limitations. And Leonard Bernstein used to say to be a creative genius, for great things, actually, he said, you need two things for greatness. You need a plan and not enough time.
You have to have the plan, and then you got to throw
not
away
enough
the time.
time. No, and not enough time.
All right. Oh, the deadline, right?
The deadline,
right,
yeah.
Right.
The plan and not quite enough time.
Right. That's how you get things done.
But there is the limitations are important because you can take a wide river like the Nile or the Mississippi, and they've done this. If you cement the banks for a mile, what you get is the speed of the river becomes 100 times faster at the exit.
Right. Which you wouldn't get.
Normally you wouldn't get.
Right.
If it naturally flows, sometimes you'll get fast streams. Sometimes it'll just erode the banks.
I like
get
that
wider.
example. Makes sense.
So when you channel something by holding limitations, I mean, that's how you create. That's kind of how you make a laser. You take these particles and you put mirrors, and you let them bounce real fast between the mirrors until it gets so thin you have a little hole in the mirror, and what comes out is super collimated, super focused, super strong. So you've created this kind of artificial environment where you're forcing them to do something, to channel that focus the energy. But that's the opposite of freedom.
Is it though?
Well,
so you
freedom of what? Is it free? It's the freedom to achieve a higher purpose that is done through the discipline of giving up certain other moments of freedom. Like if you want to be a Olympic athlete, you're probably not gonna eat hamburgers every day.
All right.
Whatever. You're not gonna sleep in. You're gonna go and do this brutal workout. So it's all I don't want to travel down the beaten path of cliches, but you got to give something up.
Yeah. I think people don't think about that a lot when they think about freedom. So you teach at university, you teach film school, and do you teach Robert McKee's that book Story? Because at the very beginning of Story, he says he's talking about the same thing we're talking about. He's about to give you the structure to how to write a film, and he's like, I know you guys hate structure, but you need it.
It's interesting. I have mentioned it. Okay. I did mention it the last semester.
Okay.
I actually was privileged to have taken his live seminar back in the day when I was a student.
Cool.
I was working as an assistant in a production house that dealt a lot with literary content, with famous books being made into audio books, and the
I'd like to get the audio for that one.
I don't know. The thing is that this was okay, I can talk. It was called Dove Audio. It was the first books on tape.
Oh,
The
this
first
is way
books on
back in
tape.
the day then.
Well, they were way back in the day, but this was not that long ago. But they had been around for a long time, and they're both passed away now. The owner was a producer of other things as well, called Michael Wiener. He really hated it if you pronounced it Wiener. He was a bit of a tough ass, and his wife was one of the kindest, gentlest, most beautiful people. She was a TV star, and she was on the cover of Home and Garden, something like 12 times. A lot of your older viewers will remember Deborah Raffin. She was like Bo Derek. She was like kind of ethereal blonde, very nice. She had a green thumb. She knew a lot about gardening and all that stuff. And she was making those things called movies of the week. She was a bona fide television star. I'd been in a couple of bigger movies as well. And she noticed that I had just graduated, or I was still in school at USC. And I was interning with them. And she said, you look like you could use this. You want to go to Bob McKee's seminar. And that was like $2,500, which was more than my monthly salary at the time. And I was like, well, thank you so much. And I did. And it was interesting because McKee is really good. It's really, really good. There's a portion where he kind of provokes you to find a movie that doesn't follow the most general version of his. And I watch a lot of obscure films, the minor French films or Czech films or Romanian films or whatever. They all kind of,
is that right?
It's original. It's what it is. It's zoomed out enough that it works.
That's a good way to describe kind of how he views it, actually. Kind of a zoomed out point of view where you can kind of fit the characters into these archetypes.
It kind of works. And of course, it's like everything in American filmmaking, it's more or less based on Joseph Campbell and a 3-act structure.
Right.
Which, of course, not everything is a 3-act structure, but everything can be reduced to Joseph Campbell because Campbell followed Jung and Eliade, and they were looking at comparative mythology. So when you look at all the stories told all over the world, and you find the common elements. And
A Hero with a Thousand Faces.
Is that Hero with a Thousand Faces? Yeah.
And but I remember McKee also had a lot of Aristotle in there, so I think I think he's part of that tradition as well. Did you ever read Poetics?
I did. It's a very short and dense book. But I think with Aristotle is that unity of time, space, and action is something that we don't follow much.
Describe that. What was that?
Well, Aristotle, the classical story. Basically, there were all these runs of threes, and I remember 2 of them mostly. One is the 3 unities, which is a good story takes place over a contained period of time. The unity of time. Usually 24 hours or something like that. Look at Antigone, It's got a unity of location or of space. It takes place in the same space. And it's got a unity of action, which means, you're sticking with Ulysses, right? Which is not necessarily, doesn't have a unity of time, although it's still continuous.
So is that character or is that different than character?
Well, it's different than character. It's this would make a movie that is non-linear, fragmented, or told in flashbacks impossible. Or that takes place over a lot of, the cinematic stories. So for theater, it holds up more. Or Aristotle does. But the other rule of threes that Aristotle has, which is the 3 laws of mimesis, poiesis, and catharsis, that holds. That really does hold. That is mimesis, that a good story mimics life. Poiesis, that a good story poeticizes, transfigures. The language is supposed to transfigure. The imagery is supposed to transfigure. You're supposed to elevate the audience and transfigure them. And if you do that successfully, then you obtain this release, catharsis at the end.
Nice. And that's what it's about, isn't it? I feel like that's
well, you know,
that's the aim and the goal of filmmaking is catharsis.
If you can make it work. I mean, I was talking to Irina about this, that not every piece of music and not every interpretation of a given piece of music ends up leading you to having that emotional release.
Sure.
And it's a little bit...
and I guess everyone's different too, so not everyone's going to...
Well, it's a bit mysterious. I mean, I have actor friends. I mean, I'm an actor myself, but I'm mostly a director and a teacher. But I've been around enough to know that how you feel when you're done with a performance has almost nothing to do with how the performance was.
Interesting.
And it is, it's interesting because, and you can see this, there is various great, I think Anthony Hopkins has something that's now either on YouTube Shorts or on Instagram where he talks about this. He talks about how upset he was one evening after a performance because he knew it was his best.
Right.
And he had no idea how he got there.
Okay.
And he had no idea how to replicate it. And he
And
was
that's why he was
frustrated.
upset?
He was upset. He was like, so he was having a really, I think it was Anthony Hopkins. I'm 90% sure. It might have been Richard Harris, but I think it was Anthony Hopkins. And he was like, I'm annoyed at myself because I can tell it was great. I'm not having a great time because I'm thinking, how do I get back there again? Maybe it was Patrick Stewart. Anyway, one of them. And I don't know how. I know the text and I understand the character.
Right.
I do all these things. I'm a professional. But I hit this next level of thing, and I'm annoyed as I'm hitting it, and I can sense the audience is transformed and out of there in a good way. But all I can think of is
how do I do this?
How do I capture this?
But that's
so
the mystery.
how can I do it tonight? And then I've experienced this with a lot of my theater actor friends where they come off the stage and they're themselves in a great mood. They're totally transfigured, and we in the audience are like,
boring performance.
nothing happening.
Right.
So it's very difficult. You know, it's a millimetrical. It's just a tiny bit here and a tiny bit there, and you can make one false move and the whole thing flips, or you can be foolproof one night and do anything, and the audience loves you.
I feel like that's how it is with the films that I've done in the past. Like it's not a science. Like I've done films where it's been hardly any planning. We have fun. It's great. And then the other films are like, okay, we're taking this serious. We're planning. We got the shot list and everything and the rehearsals, and then there's a shit. And it's like, what the hell is the secret? What is the balance? Is there even a balance? And like, I don't know. I feel like Anthony Hopkins there. Wish I could know when I do that good film, like what was it that made that film work, right? But
I was gonna joke again and say that if you ask me how to divide film productions, I would say there's two kinds. There's the kind with enough time but not enough money, and those who have enough money and not enough time. Now, they both can lead to great success.
okay.
And I think that is the part that is a little mysterious and miraculous, because I think to a large degree it comes up to a lot of people not fucking up and a few people doing great. But I think that on a movie set you need a large number, like a large percentage. Let's say there's a small set, it's 10 people.
Okay.
You need 8 of them to not mess up and 2 of them to do
shine.
well, to really do well, right? And usually a good director is out of the way. You know, if you've done your work and the preparation, then you just...
What's out of the way mean?
You know, like at times...
Not involved with the DP, not involved with the gaffer.
I'll give you two examples. Like and it's in his heyday, a filmmaker I like a lot and I've met personally a few times. Although he comes from the rival school. He comes from UCLA, Francis Ford Coppola. Oftentimes, I don't know how he did Megalopolis or his more recent work, but back in the day, everybody was talking about how he was in the Video Village.
He was not at Video Village.
He was.
Oh, he was. Okay.
He was, yeah. So he would prepare the actors and rehearse and do all that work. And then when, by the time
You're shooting.
they were shooting, he was confident and he didn't want to get in the actor's way or whatever it was.
So he just hung out in Video Village the
he
whole
preferred
time.
to watch
Sure.
and make sure that he was getting what he
Right.
wanted to get. And if
Right.
there was a problem, then he would get out of there and, throw down I can do it, but I don't want to mess up your headphones. and go there and be he's a big guy, temperamental, now he's not, but when he was 40, 50, he was a force of nature. And another person that my mother, who's an actress, worked with, I only met him in a master class, Costa Gavras. Costa Gavras preferred, he said he preferred to only have his voice heard on the set when there was a problem. So these are directors who prepare a lot. And then they hope for smooth sailing, and if it's smooth sailing and everyone is doing their job well enough with the one or two people usually in front of the camera who have to really shine, then you don't hear his voice. He's doing his work before. And then there are other directors, I imagine. I haven't seen all of them, but I would, Tarantino seems like a director who loves acting so much that he's more active.
Up front and center. with the actors,
He's more active, and actors love that sometimes. And other directors, Christopher Nolan comes to mind, who are more cerebral and who, again, are more into preparation than into the art of spectacle and being part of the spectacle. And I think everyone, it also depends how you feel on that day. I mean, just imagine it's the day of your big shoot and you gotta about a diarrhea. I mean, you got to think of these human things.
I mean, those things happen. When it rains, it pours, right?
So we
had the best podcast ever. We solved world hunger, and we didn't press record.
Well, I think it was Joe Rogan sent us bad juju because it was just too good.
It was too good. He was worried.
We would have taken over the podcast world.
I love that. So let's talk about MIT. So you finished your degree at MIT. I didn't realize that. I thought you went to MIT studying physics, gonna knock this out the park. No one gets inducted to MIT except for me. And then I did a humanities class and I went into film. But you finished the physics degree.
Yes, okay. I did, and I was technically, I don't know why they let me do that. I was technically at the head of my class. We don't have at MIT. We don't have summa cum laude, magna cum laude.
No?
None of that exists. And our GPA goes up to 5.
Okay.
So, to be perfectly honest, I had in my GPA there were 2 types because I transferred from Romania, right? So all of the stuff, the credits that transferred, although I had gotten only 10s in Romania, it's up to 10. I made it a point to even I took 1 or 2 exams that I had 9s in. I retook them again because I wanted to transfer to MIT with a full top GPA.
Right.
But so that is a fact. It's checkable. But MIT didn't, when it equivalated those courses, it just gave me a pass. Like they didn't. That's it.
9 or 10.
And then for all of the classes I took at MIT, I took 5.0s in all of them.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that I'm breaching any protocol when I say I had a 5.0 GPA. So I did, but again, half of the classes, a little bit less than half. So I did. I enjoyed it. I love theoretical physics. I started grad school in physics as well. And in the middle of my PhD, I said, no more. I'm done. I'm good. I wanna focus on filmmaking. But as you hinted, the difference in the educational systems between Romania, Europe, and which was at the time freshly former communistic, and for those of you who don't know, the education system in the Soviet Union and in the countries influenced by the Soviet Union was bitchin'. No freedom of speech, but good math skills.
Sure,
know?
But they still say that about Cuba, right? Cuba, they're well educated.
In terms of STEM,
right.
STEM, where if it's not political.
You're good.
You're good.
Yeah. Humanities.
You have to study humanities.
Sociology.
Well, the funny thing with humanities, with even in science, that all of the great discoveries, the Soviet Union had these alternate inventors or these alternate scientists who had discovered it.
Interesting. Okay.
So it wasn't the periodic table of elements. It was the Mendeleev table.
Interesting.
And it wasn't the
Mendeleev. Then what,
he was part of the
name.
he designed he certainly was part of the group of core scientists who established the way we organize elements. Yeah. But he wasn't the only one.
All right.
And if something was designed or if there was something that was discovered by Richard Feynman or Robert Maxwell or whatever, it was the Godunov-Maxwell principle or it was the Popov-Feynman principle. It was always, I'm improvising now, but it was very funny because for those of us who kind of had access to the library books of the English text, English language text or French, we would have like the name of the person.
So are you at MIT realizing this?
No. We had fun with this earlier.
Yeah.
But the thing is that there's a difference in the educational systems and in Europe in general, you decide kind of early on what you're going to do with your life. For instance,
especially in the communist countries, you were saying.
Absolutely, and especially with sciences, like if you were serious about trying to become a doctor, at the top of the 8th grade, you had to make that decision.
You had to know.
How
old are you at 8th grade?
14. Yeah, I didn't because I was a child actor. But I had this weird thing where I was a child actor, but I got good in math. I think my dad explained things to me. He was a playwright, but he was also a PhD in biochem. So it was a very similar.
Okay.
I went
Similar to
physics,
that,
film, and he would explain things to me like quantum mechanics. And he started explaining things to me around 11. I started getting them around 15, so the physics road opened, and then I took 2 years of college in Romania. And then I transferred to MIT. I was the first Romanian, not Romanian ethnic, but Romanian national citizen who came as an international student on a full scholarship.
Is that right? Wow. To MIT.
Yeah, I was the first one. And also then the first one in that manner to come to USC. A lot since. And there were many Romanians who were, immigrants. And who went to MIT too. But I mean, in this particular narrow category of after the fall of the Berlin Wall, who's the first who got a full ride scholarship to come to MIT? They flew me out of Romania like this. That was me.
So is that when communism fell, when the Berlin Wall fell?
Yeah,
around the same period?
Same year.
Same year.
Everything, all of the communist countries
like
fell
89?
the same 89. As a teenager, and
so it just cascaded from there?
Romania was the last one.
Christmas Day.
Romania was the last one.
Amazing.
And a few years later, I was at MIT. But when I got to MIT...
how old were you then?
I was
18, 17? So, wow. So you were 17 years under communism.
Yeah, but the thing is, because of this difference in system, like when you go to college in Romania, let's say you go to the physics university, there's no such thing as general education requirements.
Okay.
You're just like, taking just physics and math. And in America, and I don't know in Cayman, but I'm assuming it's similar.
Yeah.
You have to take some general requirements, like some history, how to balance your checkbook, some maybe financial history and financial literacy, some geography, some whatever.
Exactly.
In Europe, it's usually that's relegated to high school.
Right.
It's like a French system.
Okay.
Where the high school is like a mini college, especially toward the year. In Germany, they have 13 years. So again, it's that Abitur, that's finishing year, which you get a lot of the general knowledge. And by the time you go to university, you're really focused.
Specific in that.
In America, that focus usually happens in the last few years of college and then in grad school.
Yeah.
So when I came to MIT, and remember, I'm ambidextrous brain-wise. So
I was going to say
left brain, right brain, right?
Right.
And I was prepared to just like sacrifice the right brain and do all this like math and physics
theoretical
stuff. And they look at my transcripts and they say, well, you've pretty much finished all your basic and middle scientific course requirements. You just have the really hard course requirements for math and physics.
So we're not going to let you do those yet.
And you have a giant gap in humanities. I'm like, Mr. Humanities. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, you got to take all these humanities. And they were acting like, you're gonna have to do this. I'm like, oh, twist my arm, please. Oh, you mean I have to take Roman history and harmony and counterpoint and conducting and French advanced civilization? And, oh, it's gonna be so hard.
That must have been a joy.
My life was gonna be so hard. I actually had to pinch myself. I spent 2 years at MIT, and indeed, every semester I had one peach of a physics class, like hard, like I couldn't sleep, like, you know. But the rest, the other 3 courses were like film analysis, great film auteurs, you know, the philosophy of linguistics with Noam Chomsky, which I audited.
Nice.
I took Dr. Bo's.
When you say you audited that Chomsky's course, what does that mean?
That means you go in, you don't get a grade. You're just allowed to go in and attend.
Cool.
And
he was teaching there?
Yeah, I think he's still at MIT. His entire career was at MIT. I think. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I tried to collaborate with him later on a documentary, and he was open to it, but it didn't happen. There's a couple of people I tried. 2 MIT people I was in the conversation with at one point or another. One was Ray Kurzweil, and the other one was Noam Chomsky. Okay. And yeah, I mean, you know, it's a great place of ideas. MIT is, and you know, we're a sister school with Harvard, which we derisively refer to as admissions college, because it's the hardest thing is to get admitted.
Okay.
Then it's smooth sailing. It's the opposite of MIT. I mean, MIT is very hard to get in as well, but it's hard to finish.
It's hard to finish.
It's hard to finish.
But you finished. You finished that physics degree.
I did.
And then you're like, okay, film studies.
Then I got a couple of nice PhD offers, including Princeton, which was very honoring. For physics, applied physics. I got something called a Guggenheim Fellowship at Princeton, and I got waitlisted at Harvard because they were like, "We think you're gonna go study arts." They were smart.
They could sense it.
You know what? I walked into the.
So were you acting as well at the time?
I walked into the Harvard admission, the physics department, and I kid you not, there were 2 rabbis, with the tzitzis and the whole thing.
Right.
And like, okay, I'm not gonna outact these guys. And they were looking in the computer and looking at their thing. They're like, yeah, if you don't end up going and studying like film, you can come here. You'll have a home here. We'll get you. We'll give you your spot.
So they knew it.
But we don't think you. They were the only ones. Those, you know.
Well, how did they put it together then?
I don't know. But I knew the moment I walked in, I'm like, I'm not, because you know, I already knew I wanted to come study film.
Yeah.
But I wanted that Harvard. I didn't want to be waitlisted at Harvard. Yeah. I wanted the admission. I wanted to be able to say I got into MIT, Princeton, and Harvard. And no, I got an imperfect record. They let me only waitlisted, and then I got into USC and NYU, which were my choices.
Okay, but you loved LA.
I wanted to. The way I put it is, and I apologize. I said when the NYU recruiter, who strangely enough was British, called and said we're going to give you the only scholarship we have, which is a half scholarship, and for the first year, and you're gonna have to take care of your lodgings, but you know your courses are free. And in the meanwhile, at USC, I was admitted at the same time in the physics department with a PhD as a dean's fellow and in the film school. And they let me carry on with both, and they let me teach. So I didn't have to pay because as a teaching assistant, I had a stipend to cover courses.
When you were teaching physics?
Yeah.
And studying film. Wow. And this was at USC?
This was at USC.
Oh, okay.
But this was, I'm kind of fast forwarding, and the NYU recruiter, and I'm not going to do a British accent, but said, "Do you realize what you're giving up, boy?" He didn't say boy, but he meant it. He did. I could hear it. And I think he called me young man or something, equally like desultory. And I said, yeah, I'm choosing to be poor for the next 20 years in beautiful climate instead of freaking New York City. I love New York City, but New York City, you know, it's a survival of the fittest, you know. And I like to go there once a year and spend $1,000 on 3 theater tickets. Have some food, hit up the Neue Gallery or the Frisch, what is it called? I may be mispronouncing that. Just go see amazing art. Yeah. Take a walk in Central Park. Watch Hamilton again. or The Father or whatever, some great play that's about to win the Tony, and get out of there before the noise gets
And
to
then
me.
back to LA.
Yeah, I mean, live in Beverly Hills and go to Malibu to swim. I like silence. I don't think you can live in New York City and love silence. And I have like a lot of family who lives in New York City.
Okay.
So I have, it's always a debate. And also New York City is the place where that, for me, is associated with some of the biggest successes of my life. It was premieres or trips to New York City.
Right.
Yeah, the biggest awards I've ever gotten, New York City. So come on, New York, manifest something if you want me there.
There you go. There you go. Did you go there for what was the name of the movie we saw yesterday? They Will Come to Play. They came to play.
They came to play.
Were you in New York City? I don't think so.
I was in New York. Yeah, it didn't premiere in New York, but it played in an extremely prestigious venue at the Lincoln Center. So it had a New York premiere at the Lincoln Center. It had a New York Times Critics' Choice, which is super cool. And it was also the toughest. That's when I learned something about New York audiences. First of all, the audience you have at a Lincoln Center is probably the crustiest, most sophisticated audience you'll have anywhere in America. Sorry, LA. And they play their cards very close to the chest. Because I'd been touring with the movie for a year by the time we were in New York. Not a year, but maybe 8 months. We started our festival run in Fort Lauderdale and then Palm Springs. We went to a bunch of like friendlier places, more normal places. In New York, and I knew when the audiences laughed. I knew. And oftentimes I provoked them. Because when you're in an audience, you need permission to laugh.
Sure.
And with a documentary in particular, people weren't sure if they were supposed to laugh.
Sure.
They were. It's a funny documentary.
Yes,
It's got a
it was
lot of
funny.
chuckles.
There was,
Yeah, the people were funny, right?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
do anything. The people were funny.
yeah.
I just cut at the right
Right
moment
moment,
to help people laugh.
Right.
But I had noticed already that sometimes audiences were like, well, I'm watching a documentary about classical music. Whoa, this is important.
Right.
And sometimes, like in Miami, in Florida, everybody laughed. People were relaxed. People had a drink before the show.
Right.
Other places they didn't. So
Fascinating.
what I took to doing is when the first giggle moment happened,
Yeah.
I would laugh.
Right.
And the second time, everybody started laughing
Right.
because they had been given permission to do it.
Interesting.
Well, in New York, I tried that. I mean, you have to understand, in New York at the Lincoln Center.
Okay.
I tried that and it didn't work.
Wow.
It didn't work. There were these
Fascinating.
people who looked like, they were the supporting cast from a Woody Allen movie from the 90s. Very, very intimidating faces, all the, glitterati and intellectuals and experts and connoisseurs and all that stuff. So I shut my mouth and nobody laughed. Nobody as much as made a noise.
Interesting.
And I thought to myself, I am cooked. And then they gave us like a 3-minute standing ovation.
Wow.
They jumped. They kept it all bottled.
Is that right?
They kept it all bottled, and then they gave it at the end.
At the end.
Yeah. So yeah,
I love
and
that.
then my other film, one of my other films, premiered at Tribeca.
Nice.
And it was a long story, but it was the reason for two gigantically and enormously talented actors and filmmakers to have a make-up-ance, to make friends again, because they had been on the outs for a few years, a decade, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
That is Robert De Niro and Kevin Spacey. Long story, but Kevin was one of our executive producers because the movie Shakespeare High is about this high school and middle school Shakespeare club that spans something like 50 high schools in the LA area. And a lot of people got their start in serious theater in this competition for high school and middle school kids. And so we knew someone one of my producer knew Kevin and said, we're going to make a movie about this thing that you got your start in. So he gave us money to make the movie.
Cool.
And then De Niro allowed us to premiere at his festival, and that's it changes.
So then they came
outlook.
together?
They came together, and there's a photo of me grinning like an idiot with the two of them shaking hands after not having seen each other for 10 years.
Yeah. It's like that photo of Clinton and who was it? The Palestinian guy.
Yasser Arafat,
and
in a weird way, I think maybe that photo is more important than the movie. Although I think the movie's, I am very proud of it, and it's a very cool film.
And there's themes. I feel like I didn't see that one, but I feel like that's a theme. It's a similar theme where you seem to be using art in schools to allow students to, I can't think of any other word than appreciate the arts.
Well, not just that, it's to elevate themselves in every other aspect of their lives. I mean, that's the impetus,
and it was
that's the conclusion. But the motivation is that I wanted to be a professional pianist, and my life went in a different direction. So I celebrate that because I can't be it, I can celebrate it. And so I wanted to be a Shakespearean actor, and I am, I really do, but I'm not like McKellen or Stewart or Hopkins. I mean, I don't get those opportunities. I just get to do my stage readings and learn the canon slowly. And, I've done maybe 18 of the plays and stage readings, and, I have another 20 to go.
So that's the motivation.
So motivation is I want to celebrate that which I love.
Right.
And if my life had turned slightly differently, I had the opportunity to work with McKellen on a documentary, and someone spilled the beans to him because I had seen him when I was 18. He came to Romania with the National Shakespeare, not the Royal Shakespeare Company, the National Shakespeare Theatre, the NST, I think it's called. And he and Brian Cox, he had Richard III, the one that he made into the Nazi movie. Remember that staging with the Nazi overtones. The one where in the movie he licks his finger to get the ring out. Oh, it's one of the most obscene. I wonder if they can see me. One of the most obscene scenes because he's seducing this widowed princess with her dead husband, whom he killed, body on the slab in front of her. And, this is the humpback. This is the hunchback, sorry. And then when he realizes he's about to win, he's trying to take a ring off his finger to put it on hers. And McKellen just goes there. He just goes to get it off. And you're like, it's the most amazing moment. Anyway, it was that staging. And then it was Brian Cox as King Lear. And someone told Sir Ian McKellen, when I was filming, I was the director of photography that day on that show. And someone told him that this was my first experience watching Shakespeare and how much I love Shakespeare. And in front of everyone, Sir Ian turns to me and basically says something like, "So why the bloody hell are you here and not London?" Because this was in LA. And I'm like, because life's complicated. It's complicated. So, all the things that I would have loved to do and haven't because, there were some little things called life that got in the way, or maybe I made different choices. At least I have a chance to celebrate. And the next thing that I'm doing, my father was an extraordinarily accomplished playwright and lyricist. And I grew up surrounded by music composers in Romania. And so it doesn't surprise me that the next movie, my next film, which is coming out at the Palm Springs Festival on January 3rd and is going to be playing, well, I can't really say. I'm not at liberty to say, but it's going to be playing in a festival near you, Cayman. 2 festivals near you. It's called Elvis, Rocky, and Me, the Carol Connors story. And it's about an incredibly iconoclastic, twice Academy Award nominated songwriter, glass ceiling breaker female by the name of Carol Connors, which was a moniker. Her real name was Annette Kleinbard. And small tidbit of the many very entertaining and enlightening things about this film is that several of the famous original female songwriters purposefully chose pen names Carol, and you will see that there are a lot of early female songwriters called Carol.
Interesting.
Because DJs didn't like to play the female. They felt the audience was going to be turned off.
Okay.
Especially they would never play back to back.
Okay.
So they picked Carol because it was a ambiguous.
It could be a voice
It
name?
was an ambiguous name.
Not in the States.
I know. We're talking the States, the 50s and 60s.
Maybe
so,
then.
So that's what I'm talking
Pope
about.
John Paul II was Carol. That was his first name with a K.
Karol.
Yeah.
Wojtyla. Yeah, the Polish Pope.
Right.
But yeah, so you have Carol with an E or without an E, with a C mostly in America, of course, sometimes with a K. But that was one of the reasons.
Interesting.
And
So that's why they
that
went with
that movie's coming out. I think it's going to do well. I think I finally learned a lesson, and it's not just a good movie and entertaining, but it also hits on a couple of wider audience, bigger things, hence the title, Elvis, Rocky, and Me.
And so you worked with
see.
Carol Connor in this, right?
Carol Connors is my subject. It's
Right.
funny because it sounds very royal.
Yeah.
Because you say you call your documentary people that you're making a movie about subjects.
subject, yeah.
But it's more like the other way around. It's
Yeah.
like, I can't say her age. But it begins with an 8, and it's.
And so she
she's
did
a
more
force of
than
nature.
just.
Did a lot.
Yeah. So
She did a lot.
you started talking about this film because you're talking about making music, and she's
So that's
songwriter.
another thing that I write songs.
Right. And what do you mean you write songs?
I write songs.
Like, do you write the melodies? Do you
Everything,
write the chords?
everything,
Lyrics, everything. What
Yeah,
do
I
you
was
use to
trained-
write? Do you use
piano
instruments?
usually, piano and voice. I mean, I'm
And what types of songs are we talking about?
well, poppy, jazzy.
Okay.
Or a Broadway E.
Okay.
It's been a minute since I tend to write songs on the piano when in the first stages of falling in love. And I tend to write songs on the guitar during the first stages of a breakup. It's kind of clockworky.
What's the reason?
I have no idea. It's just something. It's like,
Because I feel like it should be opposite.
No, I don't know why.
I feel like the piano is the breakup music.
You're right. You're
It's
right.
like,
I'm just telling how it is, and I'm neither in love nor breaking up this moment. So I haven't been writing for a moment. I've been busy raising my 13-year-old son, and I think for that I need a drum set.
Yeah.
I feel like drumming, frankly.
that's the relevant instrument.
Or maybe a kazoo.
So when I was watching the movie yesterday, I love it because it's all these great piano players who are doing other things in life. But what I noticed is that the other things in life that they're doing is pretty high achieving jobs.
Well, yeah,
So,
because
is there a correlation between is there a correlation between being able to play the piano at that level and your IQ?
I think so.
I think so too.
I
I mean,
think
it was
so.
pretty obvious just watching it. I don't think you talked about that really.
No,
but
because it's maybe borderline annoying, and nobody wants a lecture. But I think that the ability to play. I mean, the piano is a complicated instrument, and it takes a bit of brain power. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think you also have people who are. I've noticed. There's. How do I say this in a politically correct fashion? There's a lot of musical talent associated with the spectrum of autism as well.
Right.
And I suspect some of the people in my movie were high functional.
I thought the same.
What we
too,
used to call
when I watched it.
Asperger's.
Yeah.
We don't anymore. I think it's being declassified in the DSM. It's just called spectrum.
Okay.
Because it was a kind of a positive discrimination, and people would be like. Plus, it sounded weird. Asperger.
I know, it's kind of weird.
Asperger.
It's like burger.
The kids in my movie. My first film was about autistic kids doing music and movies. It's called Kids with Cameras.
Okay.
And one of them was always like, "You mean my condition's called Asperger?"
You could come up with a better name than that.
But I mean, I don't mind that because I think that anything that makes a child laugh is a good thing.
All right.
But anyway, there is a bit. I don't want to say that people who play an instrument very well. In other words, people who have musical intelligence, they have intelligence because it's a form of intelligence.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna swim in society easily. You
Right,
know?
right,
There's a
right.
lot of people who were great instrumentalists, including probably my favorite pianist, Glenn Gould, who weren't exactly the easiest people to get along.
Sure.
And in particular, pianists, I think, are quirky creatures.
Yeah, I think quirky is a good word to describe.
they're-
The winner was amazing. That guy, at that guy all day.
Oh, cut that out. Bleep that out.
Bleep, bleep.
In case they see it, because no, he was the sunniest. Had the sunniest dispositions
ever.
disposition, and he
such a
was
cool family guy, you know?
very good, very dedicated husband, very dedicated father,
Yeah.
an extraordinarily successful doctor,
Yeah.
beloved in the community.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes you sick to your stomach that such people exist.
I know.
They just exist to make the rest of us frustrated.
Yeah, well, he's a good guy.
Like, I can't even do a quarter of what you're doing, buddy. But yeah, that happens, and it's a privilege. You know, one of I always feel that making documentaries about such remarkable people, you know, this should be a log against it. I mean, I get to make some money and travel and hang with truly remarkable people, and occasionally tell them what to do. You know, it's not a bad life.
Not a bad life.
If you can get it.
Maybe they'll do one about you one day. So tell me about your son. Does he have this gene that you and your dad have? That left-right brain ambidextrousness?
Yes, I think he does. You know, he's 13. He's 13. He's 6 feet tall. Wears a size 12 and a half.
Wow.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Not huge. I mean,
Yeah.
there are a couple of 13-year-olds who are 6'4".
Sure.
Those exist.
6'4".
We know. Yeah, we
Okay,
have. Yeah.
okay. But that's pretty
Who
tall.
play ball and all that. But 6 is big.
Yeah. It's like Baron Trump.
But Baron Trump is like 6'6" or something. He's really. I mean, he's not. My son Max is not.
But he's probably not done growing yet.
No, of course not. But
Yeah.
I don't think. I think I'm not sure. But just looking visually, Baron has got to be 6'5", 6'6". I'm not sure Max will get to 6'5", but maybe he will. Either way, he's like he'll be so embarrassed. He's like a Great Dane puppy. You know, they're big, but they're little. But they're big, but they're little.
Right. And you can see what they're going to be in the future.
And he's
when they
very
fill out.
funny. That's the thing. I hope he never loses that.
Okay.
He's ridiculous. He's hilarious. He's advertently and inadvertently funny, and he gets himself into and out of trouble by
Pretty
being
easily?
funny.
Oh,
by
okay,
being funny.
okay.
And I can't even say in polite company some of the things that he comes up with. This is his first joke. He was like 4 years old. And I saw him, he like got the idea, and he came to me and he said, Dad, I have a joke. I'm like, what? He's like, do you know how you make a bee die? And I said, no, how? He said, you give it diabetes. So he discovered punning early on.
Right.
And he never let up, never let go.
No,
And so
okay.
he's great, you know.
So what's his thing? What has he figured out? Kind of what his focus is yet?
It's eighth grade.
If he was in communist Romania, he's got 1 year to figure out what he's going to do with his
Actor.
life. Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. Musical theater, most likely. But he doesn't, I don't think he's necessarily wants to do that. He's about to enter next year, unless our life changes completely, which I don't suspect it will, but, you know, I'm not God. Despite the evidence to the contrary. He's about to go into, you know, Beverly Hills 90210. He's about to go to that high school.
Okay.
Which is big. I mean, that high school is as big as this island. Not quite, but
Right.
it's a gigantic place.
Right,
It's
right.
like a college.
Right. Huh.
So
That's pretty exciting
we'll
for
see. I mean, he's in a tiny school with 8 people.
Really? That small?
Tiny school.
Huh.
Yeah.
And that was on purpose, I guess.
It kind of worked out that way.
Yeah.
The other years have 20 people. He just has 8.
Okay.
And now he's going to go into 300.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I have no idea how he'll develop. He'll have to find his own identity. He'll have to find his own. I mean, how do you stand out in a crowd of 300? Do you want to stand out? Do you want to hide? We'll get to discover all these
All
things.
those things, yeah.
But he's a lovely creature, and I enjoy hanging out with him. And we are at that awkward age where we can swap ski boots and skis.
Okay.
So this is the year where we're gonna be going
Swapping.
back and forth with shorter skis, longer skis. So I can't wait. That's our winter thing. That's our guilty pleasure is the skiing part.
Skiing's great.
Yeah.
I really, I love American football. That's my favorite sport.
What's your position?
Wide receiver, baby.
Wow,
Yeah.
you were fast,
Yes.
quick, and
Yeah.
try to escape those big guys.
Yeah, that's the best part, man. That's the best.
But they move fast. I mean, the school I teach at and I went to as a graduate student is one of the big football schools,
Right.
USC. And we have like 10 championships, I think, or more, 12. But it was very funny because we had something called a roach coach years ago, which was a food truck. Back when food trucks were few and far in between.
Right.
And they had these benches, and we would go from the film school, and there would be like 4 of us, 2 on this side. You know those tables with the benches that are incorporated on both sides?
Yeah.
So we would sit close to the end.
Yeah.
2 on one side, 2 on the other, and the bench would swing a little bit. And then one defensive guy
Gets on.
would sit down on the other side and tip the whole bench. So but the interesting thing with those guys is they watch the drills, or if you watch the games, they're shockingly fast. They're like hippopotami.
Yes.
Like rhinoceros or hippopotami who are like,
Can move.
they're so fast.
Right.
They're faster than the squirrels.
Right. I think that's you don't really get that on TV when you watch how quick the guys are moving.
Yeah, because you don't see, like when you're in the stands, you can see how quickly they went from here to here.
Right. And the big guys as well, right? But what I loved about skiing was that it reminded me of being a wide receiver. Just sort of like the quick cuts, you know, to sort of direct where you're going. And I'm from Cayman, so we didn't ski, but I just enjoyed skiing way more than I ever thought that I would.
It's funny because my relationship with skiing is very twisted. When I was because I was a communist movie child star.
Communist movie child star.
Yes. And
but you gave that up.
I gave that up
to study physics.
Yes, but I in 2 of the movies that we made, because it was like a ensemble cast and we were like the same.
You mean when you were a child in Romania?
When I was a child in Romania. I was supposed to be an expert skier. I'd never skied. And there were 5 of us, 6 of us, 5 of us, 6 of us. And of the 6, when they greenlit the sequel, they brought us in and they said, congratulations, we got a sequel. The first movie performed well. And good news, you're all going to be expert skiers in this new film.
Okay.
How many of you have ever skied? One hand goes up.
Is there no skiing in Romania?
There's a lot of skiing in Romania.
Oh, okay.
But we were all
just weren't
city,
doing
except
it.
for one who was from the mountains. The other 5 of us were city slickers.
Okay.
And the director said, "Okay, no problem. We're gonna give you ski lessons," as if. And so that movie became 2 movies. And it was filmed over 3 seasons, 3 winters. And I have a lot of stories. And I had to pretend I'm a good skier. And I was scared, breathless.
About pretending
to be a skier. And it's a miracle I never broke anything. I fell in ravines. I hit my head. I got a concussion.
So you actually had to go
name.
skiing?
Yeah, on camera.
Well, how can you do that if you don't ski?
You risk it, and on one take is good, one take is good, and then on the wide shots they had stunt skiers to do our stuff.
Sure.
But you had to believably ski down the last few feet and stop and all that, and it was like there was a ravine on this side and a fallout on the other side.
Presumably you started to learn there at that point.
Well, I did, but I never
picked it back up after that.
No, when the movies stopped, I was like,
"Fuck skiing." Well, skiing sucks the first week.
I'm done.
It's the worst.
I already started the season back home. I was there on the ski season opening at Mammoth. Yeah, but I said I'm never skiing again. Many years later, I have a little kid, and we went to the snow in the mountains. And I kind of said, well, it's not fair to him not to show him.
I hate it.
Not to show him skiing.
Yeah.
And then...
and kids are great at skiing because they're so low.
Yeah.
They're usually pretty good.
And then we go once, we go twice. The 3rd time, I'm like, I got to go with him.
Yeah.
It's like a father-son thing. I'm not going to let him... What, am I going to sit here and drink 16 cappuccinos and then start on beers at 11? No. So I got up, I went up, and I hated every moment of it. And I fell, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then something happened.
Yes.
And now I dream in ski.
Yeah. So it just clicked. When it clicks, that's the moment.
A year later, it clicked. And I have a buddy in Big Bear who is a retired snowboard instructor. His knee retired him, at least temporarily. But he was there when I started, and I was following, make fun of me and all that with my son. He was kind of around. We were hanging out. And then the next year, we hung out again. And then he looked at me going down, and I waited for him, and he came down, and he looked at me and he said,
You're a skier,
something
huh?
happened.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Yeah.
And he's like, you ski better than I do.
Yeah.
I'm a boarder. I don't ski that much.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
a season and a half later, something happened to you.
Yeah.
And what happened to me is, but it's dangerous because if you don't fall, it means you're not pushing your limits.
True.
And falling is not fun. On the ski opening day in Mammoth, it was a whiteout. It was windy and snowy, and it was powdery. And I did all these blue runs, but I said I can't. I got to do some black. I got to do at least one black run. There was only one black run who was open. The face of, I think it's called the face of 3. And I went in. There was nobody else around. I missed the line that was like the wilderness line, and I went maybe just 10 meters over it, and I fell into powder, and I was up to here in powder, and I could see one of my skis, and it was blizzardy. I could see one of my skis. My poles were tied to my wrist, so I had them. One ski I couldn't see, and then it took me 100 or more steps because every step you go back in, and it's so scary because if you go in over your head, you can get buried. I think I was in an area that had some cell signal, so I would have been able to call 911 or whatever. But by the time I got myself out, and then I saw one small black piece in the snow, which if I had been stuck another minute would have been covered. And I was lucky. That was one of my bindings. And I was able to retrieve the one ski that was missing. And then getting up on skis in PAL is another thing that you don't train for. You just have to do it. It's like Irina told me, there is no way to learn conducting except in front of an orchestra.
Is that right?
Yeah. You can't. I mean, you can rehearse and imagine all you want, but you only learn conducting.
So let's change subjects to that, because whenever I look at a conductor, that's always so intriguing to me, because it looks simple.
Oh God!
It looks easy.
No.
It looks like he's just mimicking the sound that's supposed to come next. But I know it's not.
If you ever look at a conductor's music sheet, at the score, conductor score is. It takes being able to read maybe 12, maybe 18 or more lines of music vertically and horizontally.
Really?
At the same time.
Why?
Because you have all those sections.
Okay, they're coming though, right? But you don't need that section until you get there.
No. What if they're all playing? You have to be able to detect. If there's one false sound in the whole thing, you got to be able to know exactly where it is and who it is.
Right.
And
That
what
makes
to tell
sense.
them.
That makes sense.
And everything is up for grabs.
Can a conductor communicate to the individual?
There is a very famous YouTube that Irina showed me yesterday of Leonard Bernstein conducting Mahler with his eyes. Can I say a bad word on your podcast? He's eye-fucking the orchestra.
So he's communicating
everything. And he's keeping his hands in his pockets. It was kind of a demonstration. And everyone in the orchestra is just looking at him like... and I recently saw... It's funny because it's also Mahler. My dear friend and mentor from USC, the director Jeremy Kagan, called me up a few weeks ago and said, listen, I have a last-minute cancellation. My wife doesn't want to go to the symphony with me because she's busy. It's Gustavo Dudamel, the great Venezuelan-born conductor who was the director of the LA Phil. I think he still is. I think this is his last year for many years, and since he was like very young, and he's young, and he's going to be conducting Mahler's Second Symphony, which is, Dudamel has said many times publicly, one of his favorite pieces of music. It's also a monumental 5-movement, 2-hour long, and it's like a ginormous piece of music. It's the Bohemian Rhapsody in terms of pop rock. It's like that piece, that ginormous. And so sure, and thankfully Jeremy says, well, we have good seats because we can kind of see him, because at the LA Phil at the Walt Disney Hall, seats are around the orchestra, right?
Okay.
And this is like a kind of on the edge. You can see the conductor's face and the conductor's gestures. He said, bring a pair of binoculars. And I had a pair of binoculars. I was lucky. I had I go whale watching with my son from time to time. And I knew where they were, because normally that's kind of where the hell are my binoculars. And I had one guess on my way out. I'm like, I'm going to look in that closet on that shelf. Luckily, that's where they were. So I spent, first of all, the shock was to see that Dudamel didn't have the score. That is, I cannot underscore, pun intended, how
crazy
how performative that is.
Right.
I mean, just to memorize that music, because it's not like Beethoven or Mozart or even Tchaikovsky, which is, easy to memorize.
Sure.
Because there's a certain structure. Mahler is very fluid. Mahler is after Brahms. Mahler is on the cusp of atonal harmonies, and it's not always logical. The music doesn't go where you think it's going to go, and there's changes in tempo. It's complicated, and it's also a gigantic orchestra. It's an extended orchestra, and there's another brass section hidden in the audience. There's a secret brass section that sometimes starts talking to the main one, and to see Dudamel without the score, it's like, who are you? What kind of brain do you have? And then with the binoculars, to see the communication between him and 160 people or something like that. 120 at least.
Wow.
And he was talking with his eyes to everyone. And everybody in the orchestra, because I could see, I would go around, they were just looking at him. And you could see if he did, there was some symbiotic relationship going on, because all he had to do was make a tiny gesture, and you could see the performer just like with a string attached. Their pulse would change based on the. So it's quite extraordinary, and it's not for everyone.
So I always thought that the musicians play what's on the sheet. Like, why do I need the conductor?
It's not the what, it's the how. Because if you go
but even the
on
how
YouTube,
is described on the sheet.
No,
right?
it's not. No. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
Or is it more like arranging?
You could go on YouTube and just say, let's say get the Egmont Overture, which is one of Beethoven's symphonic pieces, and just go on Spotify or on Apple Music or wherever you get your music. Go on YouTube and get 3 different flavors, pieces, 3 different conductors and orchestras doing it.
The same piece.
Not the same. Not the same. You don't get the same catharsis. You don't get the same. You don't get the same emotion. You don't get the same emphasis. You don't get the same tempo. You don't get the same understanding of music. Great conductors, like it's a. I think what's the metaphor I want? All right, I'm going to switch it. I think it's similar to great actors regarding the text.
That makes sense already.
Where let's say you're in a cave, and there's a cave painting, and it's 60 feet across, and you're in the dark. You know it's there, but you're in the dark. Now there's 2 ways to shed light on this painting. One is, let's say you have these archaeologist lights set up, or geologist lights, speologist lights, and you turn them on, and the whole thing is uniformly lit, and you have time to look at it and to take it all in. The second choice is, let's say you have a very high-powered, narrow flashlight, narrow beam flashlight, and you just smoothly go over the entire thing. So at any given point, you just see a slice of it. You still experience the whole thing,
sure,
but you can't remember, like by the time. And that is, for instance, with with enciphered text like Shakespeare, which is text that's not in everyday speech. But when it's performed properly, you understand everything, even if you don't understand all of the language, because you actually understand 90% of the language. You just don't know it. But there's an energy communication that makes unravels that and makes it. But it's like the flashlight going over the fresco.
Right.
To get there, the person delivering it has to spend time with it, understanding the whole thing first. And it's erroneous to assume that even the members of the symphony understand the entirety of the music.
Right.
And I have two jokes, and I think we should wrap it up. But the first joke is it's not a joke. You give a complicated, beautiful script to an actor. Do you know what they read? Strictly their dialogue. Most 99% of the actors. That's what they're trained to do.
Right.
They go like this: my part, blah 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 blah. My part, blah 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 blah.
Sure.
That's not how a cinematographer reads it. That's not how a director reads a script. That's not how a writer writes a script.
Sure.
But they have to dissociate it that way.
Right.
And the joke is with the two cellists retire from the symphony, and they get together from time to time. And during one of these meetings, one of them says, I went to the opera and I listened to that part we used to play. Remember that part? Bum, 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 bum. And the other guy says, I remember that song. And the guy says, you know what it sounds like from the audience? It sounds, it's like that. It's like that. You hear what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And it's sometimes so difficult. Take, for instance, the second violin music in most Mozart symphonic music is devilishly hard. The first violins go la 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 la, and the second violins are so they don't have time. They don't, it's superhuman.
Yeah.
They can't enjoy the whole
Right.
because they're focused on doing something very difficult. They have to perform. It's the conductor's business to get all these voices, get them to play together, and get them to play in a manner that then delivers a certain emotion. And it's fairly, I know it looks like nothing. There's a very
I
famous,
knew that it obviously was, but it just, not having, when you don't know, you don't know.
I
right?
recommend your viewers, your listeners, go watch. It's on YouTube. There is this. So Zubin Mehta was at the time the conductor, I believe, of the Philadelphia Orchestra. And Danny Kaye, do you know who he is?
No.
Danny Kaye was an incredible comedian. He was the Jim Carrey of his generation, which is 50s and 60s and 70s.
Okay.
And there's this archival piece, I think it was called An Evening with the Philadelphia Symphony or something like that. I don't think I'm wrong. Maybe it's Pittsburgh. But Danny Kaye, who was a brilliant musician also, and he could conduct, he gets up and he does some comedic conducting, which is like he pretends that the conductor's baton is stuck to him, and he's trying to get rid of it, and the orchestra mock follows his conducting.
Right.
You can already
It
get
rings
it.
a bell.
And then he says, we don't need conductors. So he gets the orchestra to play Ravel's Bolero. And then he turns around and walks to the audience and makes jokes to say, they don't need a conductor. But of course they do. Right. It's just that there was that orchestra is one of the top orchestras in the world, and they were perfectly rehearsed.
And this is on YouTube, this scene?
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. I saw it some time ago. Danny Kaye, Kaye. But all of these jokes only serve to reinforce how unique and difficult it is to serve music at that level and be its servant, but also you put your own soul in it, and no two conductors conduct the same piece the same way. It doesn't come out the same way.
I love that, especially when you're saying the musicians, how they play their bit. I feel like that's such a metaphor for life. We all play our bits. We can't see the the whole picture. We don't know what that sounds, and God Himself or whoever you think is the grand conductor. I love that.
Yeah, you
I
can't
think-
you
I
can't
think
hear
that
if
makes a
you're
lot
in
of
the
sense.
middle of the cello section and you're working hard. All you hear, most of what you hear, is what your colleagues are
section.
playing. Your
I
section.
remember that was when we played in the steel band. That was like the closest we got, because then they'd be playing the bass section. I can't remember what it's called, and you just got to hit your bass notes, right? But you don't know what the guys at the front are saying and are doing. And
Yeah, I mean, the conductor is the one who hears it all.
Right.
And frankly, by the time he or she hears it, and if it ain't good, it's too late. I mean, you can do some things, but
Right.
the sound has left. The sound is hitting the audience.
Right.
It's a little late.
I love that. Thanks so much. I know
Thank
you
you.
got to go. Good
This
luck
is
tonight.
completely different.
It was. Yes.
We didn't touch on anything that we touched yesterday.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate you coming back again to do it. Round 2, take 2, not the boy band from the 90s or whenever it was, the
Yeah.
brothers. And good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for being in Cayman.
Yes.
We'd love to have you back again.
Thank you for finally. I learned it's called Cayman and not Cayman.
Yes. It sounds so much better.
Cayman. It sounds like hey man. Sounds friendly.
Exactly.